Hey, it's Chuck Charlton here with the Charlton Advantage team at LePage, and I'm here with my shiny forehead and lack of shaved face, and a new version of the price report. We've rebranded a lot of things. You may have seen our cars on the road, the new website's coming, the signs are out now, that kind of thing. So now the market's changed, obviously. The report, the structure of it's basically the same, but we went from... If you look at the year-to-date number, it's still at 52%. We were averaging about 80% of the homes that were listed were selling, and so now we're down to about 40%. And in some cases, we're seeing 20 and 30% in some of the really competitive markets. Specifically, I would say single-car garage detached homes and freehold townhouses have been, in my opinion, some of the hardest hit. They were also, interestingly enough, the fastest to rise too. So it's a little bit of that effect, like they went up so quickly, so fast that I think the adjustment was even harder and more robust for them. So the sale to list price is still 99%. It's 16 days on the market. Last month, whereas year to date we're 10, and we were averaging, believe it or not, as high as 108%. And with this 99, it's now down to about 106. You can see days on market here. These are the last couple of years. So we're still within the bandwidth of what's considered normal for 2015, 2016, and 2017. As we get the numbers for July, which will probably come like August 6th, 7th, maybe a day or two after the long weekend, we're going to start to see probably something hovering still less than 20 days. But I'm guessing it'll be somewhere around here. New listings compared to sales. This, to me, is the most important graph in the entire report because it really gives a sense of the absorption. So how many new listings come up compared to how many sales? And historically speaking, last year, we had this kind of ratio. So we would have, last year, for example, we might be about 320 new listings. And out of those, we would have about maybe 270 of them sell, which was very, very strong. And towards the end of the year, the market got very tight. The closer these are together, the more action is happening in the market. So what we really saw was the story, and this, we've never seen anything like this, was the new listings went up all the way to 650 in May. And we started to see that pattern rise in April and then just May. But what's happening, I think, is that we're going to kind of come down a little bit. I'm guessing we're going to be around this kind of 500, maybe 4. We're going to end up somewhere around here for July. And then we're going to start to see the sales just come up a little bit. We were higher than last year, and then we went down low because I think there's a perception gap. There's people that are saying, oh, it's not a good time. They read newspapers, they get really upset. And so that's the difference, is that we had lower number of sales month over month. I believe we're going to start to see that recover. Number one, because people are seeing prices down, they're starting to see opportunity. And I think the other thing is there's a lot of other stable things that are still there. Interest rates just went up, but they're still historically very, very low. And you know, unemployment, we've got immigration patterns. We have a lot of things that would still give this market legs, even things like transferring wealth from the baby boomers to the younger generation. That's going to help first-time buyers. Yes, there's things like the stress tests. I know that those exist, but I still feel like the fundamentals are still there. And foreign investors got hit with the 15% tax. I don't believe that's a huge part of the housing market. I think most estimates put it somewhere in the single digits as percentage. So it matters, but I still think that people with that tax are going to look at Canada and say, you know what, the dollar's still so low that we're going to do it anyway. I'm thinking specifically of people in the US and China. So average sale price, don't look too much at that dip. It's kind of normal. Like, you see it a little bit. We didn't see as much last year, but we saw it in 2016. In previous years, we'd see a little bit of a dip in the summer. That can mean one of two things. If you read this long write-up down below, it can mean that just the smaller homes are selling, which will knock the average price down, or there's legitimate supply and demand issues. So this year, there's a little bit of both of those that I think cause that, but it's usually not always just average price. And if you look year over year, we're still very much higher than last year. So the way to sum up what happened in the market over the last little while is there was a period of irrational exuberance, if you want to call it that. Homes were going up $100,000 a month, which was not sustainable. Salaries aren't going up that fast. And then what happened was common sense prevailed, affordability prevailed, and things came back down. This is still actually higher than average. I mean, we're talking about each one of these is a 50,000 gap, so we're still 100,000 higher than last year. There might still be a little bit less to come down here, but I think the fundamentals that are going to ring true is that eventually this is going to hit a point where people are going to say, hey, this isn't so bad. I also think that some of the listings that were just trying the market out have now exited the market, and they are, I think, changing the whole number of properties that are on the market too. So as that goes down, people start to realize it's not so bad. We're starting to see that the market's just changing back. I don't think it'll get back to where it was, but I think there's definitely recovery in the future. And the other thing that I would say is that most people are looking at that loss, even though you only lose if you actually sold. But they're looking at, like, my house value went down, even though they were cheerfully happy when it went up. But all the other homes have gone down too. So this is actually a time, and if you want to, I'll finish the video by talking about opportunity, is if your home went down by 50,000, let's say, and call that 10% of the value of your house, and you want to move to a home that's more expensive, that home has gone down 80,000. And if you represent that same 10%. So what's actually happened is the gap, you lost 50, they lost 80, the gap has actually gotten shorter. That home is $30,000 closer to you than it was before. So market shifts can present opportunities. Any shift, up, down, it gives opportunities. Investors are now looking and saying, I can buy at prices that existed a few years ago, and the cash flow numbers are much better. So if you want to talk opportunity, that to me is the big ones right now, is move up opportunities, and investors, I think, are really liking what's going on right now. So that's my little summary of what's going on the market. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at chuck@charltonadvantage.com, or give me a call, 905-693-9346.